I do the beard without the hair, I just don't have it. If I do the hair, leave the beard.
Hello, hello, hello.
You want it left right there? You want it left right there? Okay. Okay. Yeah, because this is like way too close. I do need power. So is that what you like? They don't have me on. Yeah. Not my problem. I don't know. Do you want it on the bottom?
It's on.
It's on. All right. There you go. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, that did something.
Are you doing something? Is that it? Hello, hello, hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3. If you A, I was gonna say if you get it any closer.
Live.
All right. Today is March 14th. We'll call this regular board meeting to order at 7:02. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
start with roll call, please, Josh.
Mr. Cummings?
Here.
Ms. McGuire?
Here.
Mr. Spencer?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Sutton here? Mr. Wurschbarth?
Present.
Ms. Richards?
Here. Is there any agenda additions this evening?
And I had just a quick question. In the information, there's information on the Wilbur Fire Department, or fire contract with Oscoda. We're not acting on that tonight?
No, it's just in for information.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So with that then, we will move on to public comment. We have two public comments this evening. The first public comment is for anything that is on the agenda. So it needs to be an agenda item to make a comment. Do we have any cards for the first public comment?
I have one, Jen Kirsch.
Okay, Jen?
Good evening, Board. Jen Kirch. Look a little different when I'm without hair and makeup. So we'll just go with organic Jen today. I'd like to address the artwork social district expenses, if I may.
Okay.
Thank you, Ann. I find that I'm coming to these meetings and there seems to be a lot of requests from our city, our DPWs, our fire department, our police department, and I know there's separate budgets for different things. I'm not pretending this all falls under one line item, and I'm not trying to collude that. But what I am saying is I think the residents of this township would like to see more monies put towards our infrastructure, our leaking water at 41% a month. $80,000 on an arch, $10,000 on artwork. These are a lot of monies that could be spent and should be spent, in a lot of people's opinion, on other things that are more pressing and important. I understand these are criteria to your programs that you're trying to get grant programs for, but that doesn't necessarily make it right for Oscoda, and I need you to please consider that when you're looking to spend that kind of money today. The Hammerhead comment is on the agenda. It's under information, so I don't know if that's allowed to be spoken on now or if I have to wait to the second session, which I may choose to do because I'm probably going to need 4 full minutes.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Sure, just so you're aware, that's under informational items, and we are not discussing it. It's just in the agenda packet.
Understood.
Okay.
But there are some things I saw that agenda packet that need clarification to this
Okay.
board, and I am the person to bring that.
Okay.
Thank
We
you.
will see you back later on.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. That's it, okay. All right. Moving on then to consent agenda, sorry. We have first on is the approval of the minutes. We have the regular meeting minutes from February 28th. Is there any comments on those?
And I had one minor correction on that. On page 5 of the minutes, under my comments, it states the problem now is with the Michigan Fish and Wildlife. It's actually the U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Okay. All right, anything else on the meeting minutes? Okay, then we have a few things under finance. First of all, we have the prepaid from March 8th and the amount of $285,108.53. Are there any questions on those? All right. Next on is the check run from March 15th in the amount of $10,313.01. Is there any question on those? Wow. Good job, Josh. All right. Next is the CWSRF checking report. Is there any question on those two? All right. And last but not least, we have the, is that PILT?
Yes.
Okay. 2021 report. Is there any question on those?
What is it? What is PILT?
It's payment in lieu of taxes. There are DNR parcels, and they don't pay like the regular tax bill. They send us money through the state of Michigan that comes to us directly. So I process it a little bit different because I collect for all the entities and then write checks out to the, like as you could see in the board packet, to the county, to the senior center, to the schools. And it doesn't go through taxes, it goes through the common checking account. And because we have our purchase order module, when you enter it, it won't take a liability account. It only takes expense accounts to write through there, so you have to hand enter them, so that's why they're on the list this way tonight.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, with that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with that one correction that Bill had to the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support by Cummings.
There's a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Cummings to approve the consent agenda. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wusterbarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes,
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. We don't have anything under subcommittee reports and project updates, correct, Tammy?
Yes.
Okay, and then moving on to the superintendent's report. First on, we have the Art Walk Social District expenses.
Okay, during the budget planning approval process, the EIC director requested $40,000 be incorporated into the 2022 budget for public art as part of the Place Leap strategies provided by consultants at Place in Maine. These funds were ultimately approved as part of Fund 236-266-801.000. Your packet contains items requests for facilitating the 2022 public art strategy. One, installation costs of $4,000 for the 3 banners purchased in 2021. 2, $7,350 for pedestals. 3, $2,500 for local artists to refurbish an existing aging mural. While the budget has been approved, expending the funds requires board approval. I would ask that the board consider approving the EIC director's request for materials and services related to the Oscoda Art Walk to be charged to Fund 236-266-801.000.
Did you have anything to add with that, Todd?
I don't really have anything to add, but I'll entertain any questions you have.
Okay, I actually emailed you a question earlier. I went and checked out the one mural, which is located on the back of what's currently a vacant building, obviously, but just north of where Top of Michigan is.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is have we made a couple things? The building itself is in need of quite a bit of repair. So just painting that mural on there, I guess I have a little bit of concern with that, not knowing what is in the future for that building, because nothing has really happened in the last 10 years or so. So has there been any outreach to the building owner to see what their plan is in the near future?
Not yet. I think they were just trying to see if we could even get the monies approved before we went down that road. It's kind of a chicken and the egg with any of those buildings and any of the murals that we might do. There's no sense in expending the effort of the volunteers to go find out what building owners, will participate if the board's not going to ultimately approve this. So I could see a world where you could, approve it conditionally. And if we're going to go and seek, an entire program for these buildings, then I guess we'd have to probably get the attorney involved to, write up different method of operations, I guess.
Right, and I guess in hindsight, I should have asked the question when we approved the mural on To the Moon, which, don't get me wrong, is a beautiful mural. Please, I'm not trying to take that away from it whatsoever, but is there any kind of, did we get like something in writing to do, like a permission to do the work on the building? And then do we have any guarantee that that'll be maintained or how that will be taken care of moving forward? Because I know when we expend public funds to do that, it just gets a little bit more tricky than somebody else paying for something to go on a building. So.
Yeah, honestly, the committee isn't probably quite that far down the road because this artist who had painted that originally came forward offering to, refurbish that mural. I know we were looking at a couple of new murals, and the committee was looking at, a more formal program and a co-share of cost and expense by the building owner, but we weren't quite there, and this sort of happened as an opportunity.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I guess we'll take them one at a time. I kind of started with the mural, so if anybody else has any questions on that. Is everybody familiar where it's at?
Yeah. Todd kind of answered the one that I asked, as down the road, or, was it going to ever be considered where the owner of the building took partial responsibility for the costs?
Well, again, we're looking at with the new murals that might be painted this year. We're looking at a more formal owner program, and those details have not been yet ironed out.
I guess for the mural we're talking about tonight, it would be beautiful to redo the mural, but the rest of the wall looks really bad too. I mean, so
Right.
maybe they could paint that as well. The owners could or something, and then enhance that whole wall. But just my thought.
Yeah, sure, and I'm happy to take back whatever the board decides. I'll take it back to the committee, we'll take it to the owner. You guys are 7 votes, you own the process, I'm just the messenger.
I had another question about the pedestals, and maybe we discussed this at a prior meeting, but so we won't be putting them on the poles like our regular banners are.
So the Pedestal Program is designed to be sort of a walking program. The whole idea, right, is to get people downtown Oscoda to appreciate what the town has to offer. The art program is a beautification program, again, to motivate and hopefully entice people to come to our downtown and spend their tourism dollars at our stores and enjoy our area. So the Pedestal Program allows for different stations in an art path. If you go on the EIC website, you'll see a proposed art walk map. And so those are strategically designed to, again, get people through our downtown. It'll all be on the east side of US 23. But they're basically a cluster of 3. So you'll have a taller pole in the middle with basically an art screen. It'll be screened on a metal background, and then 2 shorter pedestals, and we would have, I think there's 7 stations. So 21 total pedestals.
And things on those pedestals are going to change from time to time?
Seasonally. So this year we did a call for artists that would go on this season's, and then next year we would have, so every year it would be a different art on those pedestals.
So as it stands right now, if we repaint that mural on the back of the building and that guy sells it and the new guy doesn't like it, he could paint right over it and there's nothing we could do about that, is that right?
That's true.
I think I love that idea of the art pedestals. I mean, I think we've been trying to do something like that for years to get the art walk, and I know a lot of people are donating their time on that committee, so I'm very appreciative of that and excited to have that. There was a thing in here about installation costs for $4,000. I didn't see anything in the packet who is that getting paid to in installing?
So that's Britain. So that's the name of the company out of Traverse City who manufactured the vinyl murals that we're using. So they would be then installing them at a cost of $4,000 for the 3 murals that we currently have.
Okay.
What area, Todd, does that cover downtown? It's like street to street.
You talking about the art walk area?
correct.
Yeah. So from not quite Division Street to up to Evergreen.
Any other questions? I guess at this time I would like a little bit more information on the mural project and the building owner and so on before we act. That's my personal thought. I guess I don't know about the rest of the board. I think that the other 2 items we could act on this evening, but
Well, then I'll move to approve items 1 and 2 on the Art Walk Social District and postpone item 3 until we can get some kind of agreement to keep it, or something from the owner of the building, A, providing permission to paint on there, because I don't know if we even have that, and B, are you going to keep it on there? Are you going to help us maintain it? Are you going to make the rest of the building look okay? Just something that kind of shows that they're interested in having it, I would say.
Well, something that protects us is your point. I mean,
Yes.
it's like we're obviously making an investment, and so
Yeah.
if they're gonna let us do that, then they at least acknowledge that we are doing it. It's a township investment and
Yeah.
some agreement of some sort. I think.
Absolutely, and even,
Yeah.
so, you know, going a little bit beyond that and saying that it's part of any type of sale of the building, that if I own the building and I let the township paint this nice mural on the back of it at the cost of $2,500,
Yep.
then 2 weeks later, I get an offer on the building. It needs to be in that, it needs to be part of that transfer of ownership,
I
that you
agree.
have to keep this as part of the, you know.
It's survivable.
Yeah,
Yep, I get it.
survivability, thank
That's
you.
right. Yep. I get it.
Does that sound like something that we should do?
I'll
Sounds
support
like,
that.
it sounds like something the attorney will handle, because I'm not an attorney,
Yes.
and it sounds
Well-
like we're going down a legal path that I
Can we-
won't, I won't be going down.
We can count on you to start the process, though, yeah?
Sure, and it would be helpful, so I'm not guessing as to what the board will approve or what the board wants to see in such an agreement. It would be helpful if you all emailed me points that you'd like to see in an agreement, so I'm not guessing.
Well, I think specifically what you're saying is that if it was sold, the mural would be left if it was changed ownership. We're gonna put that
That's-
money out on that wall, that seems to be the main issue.
Well, and I
Well,
guess I
there's-
would speculate that no business owner is gonna agree to that, because, you know, you don't wanna be tied down. I'm just saying that we're expending public dollars on a private building. We need to have something a little bit more concrete in place, to know how quickly is that building owner gonna make any improvements. I mean, again, I'm not trying to tear down the owners whatsoever on that building, but there has not been anything that has been done in 10 years. So I just have a little bit of an issue putting $2,500 into it at this time. So,
Maybe Tammy could work with Todd on that?
yeah,
I'd just say, I mean, just knock on the guy, just make contact with the owner and just see if they're even interested. I mean, the owner might straight up say, no, I'm not gonna agree to any of that. Well, okay,
right.
short, sweet, to the point. And he or she might say, well, that's a great idea, and I'd really like to see that. And, just if you could break the ice, and then if it needs to go the legal way, okay. And if it doesn't, for whatever reason, okay. And then we can make an informed decision, and I'll send you an email with, my little request there.
All right.
All right, so there's a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Ms. McGuire, to approve number 1, which was the installation cost of $4,000. Number 2, which was the purchase of the pedestals at $7,350. And then we're going to postpone number 3, which is the refurbishment of the mural. Okay. Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mr. Wusterbarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. Moving on then to the Old Orchard Park 2022 operations plan.
All right. Your packet contains a memo dated March 9th, 2022, from the Township's Park and Recreation Director regarding the 2022 operations plan for both Old Orchard Park and Footside Park, the next action item on this agenda. Board members will note the 3 full-time and 45 part-time positions detailed within the operations plan. The 2022 operations plan for Old Orchard Park is required due to the township's lease with Consumers Energy. Approval of the 2022 OOP operations plan requires township board approval.
Okay, I see Al's here. He's really excited to come up to the podium, if anybody has any questions. Hi, Al. Anybody have any questions for Al?
How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, Al, we have to go through this every year to satisfy consumers' lease. Is there any, I didn't see any major changes in there from what we've had previous years?
No, what changes every year that would be any significance to you guys would be the capital improvement projects and the line items for the budgetary items. That changes every year. But you guys approve that in the in the budget, so it shouldn't be too much of a shock to you. I did increase the seasonal campsite prices. You guys had asked me to do that a couple years ago, and I looked at it, and you know what, we can do that. We kind of have to. Some of the prices of everything have just gone up exponentially, and we're having a hard time. We haven't raised prices on those in quite some time, so.
Excuse me, could you repeat that? You haven't raised those prices, what? I couldn't hear
In
you.
quite some time.
In quite some time, thank you.
So, I think people knew it was probably coming sooner rather than later. I told them that it was something we were going to look at over the winter, and we did, and I talked with Ms. Klein, and she agreed that it was time to put it in here. Footside, with that project, or with that operations plan, that's the same thing. Because of the lease with Consumers Power, we have to turn one in. I write that every year. Something that I know Jamie had asked last year, I wanted to bring your attention to, was that we are looking at playground equipment.
Oh, thank you.
So we'd looked at it the year prior when you had asked about it, and we were kind of blown away how expensive it was. I mean, even the medium-sized ones are a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they are. So we had a meeting with Rick Freeman to talk about the bike trail, and he had mentioned that he had some people looking for programs for you guys, and I had mentioned that if you had grant programs that you came across for playground equipment. He said, yeah, we just happened to come across these things. And I said, well, hey, keep your eyes open for me, and he was and going to inform me anything he comes up with. So.
Excellent.
Anybody else have any questions?
It looked good to me.
You got
How
another
easy
one.
that was?
You got another one next to me.
Yeah.
Right after this, too. So.
Right.
Two more.
You want me to stand there and ask me questions about
Yeah, just
that?
hang out there for a minute.
You're more than happy to. All right.
Okay. So with that, is there a motion to approve the operations plan as submitted?
I'll move.
I'll support.
Okay, so there's a motion by Ms. McGuire. Was there support by Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Support by Mr. Palmer to approve the plan as submitted. Sorry. Roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer,
Yes.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mr. Wusterbarth,
Yes.
Ms. McGuire,
Yes.
Mr. Cummings,
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes, Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. Next on is the operations plan for Footside Park 2022.
Okay, very similar to the previous agenda item concerning Old Orchard Park, a 2022 operations plan is also required for Footside Park. Your packet contains the proposed 2022 operations plan for Footside Park. Board members will note that the Old Orchard Park staff will continue to be performing the ongoing maintenance of both the grounds and the bathrooms. The 2022 Footside operations plan requires Township Board approval.
I did think of one other question. Is there any plans or any ideas to create another boat launch out at Footside? No? Is it feasible to do that?
I'm not going to say yes or no.
Okay.
I've spoken with Consumers Power about maybe expanding the size of the parking lot because we get so many people out there, and it didn't seem like they were really wanting to do that. I don't think they want to expand much more than what we have there. So,
Right.
but that doesn't mean that I can't ask them. So I can certainly do that.
Just
and get back
curious.
with you. No problem.
Okay, any other questions? All right, with that, is there a motion to approve the Footside Park plan as presented?
I would make a motion to approve the 2022 operations plan for Footside Park.
Support by Cummings.
There's a motion by Mr. Sutton, support by Mr. Cummings. Roll call, please.
Ms. McGuire,
Yes.
Mr. Wusterbarth,
Yes.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes, Mr. Spencer,
Yes.
Mr. Cummings,
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. All right.
Can I just make one comment here? I just remembered, on the cover page for the Footside operation, it doesn't say Footside.
It's blank. Yeah.
I would assume if you have to turn that into consumers, they would want to know that.
It's on the top of the.
It says it on the top of the next page, which looks like it might have been pushed down. It might have been meant for the first page,
Oh,
but maybe
right.
the extra
Yeah.
line or
That one.
something.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did kind of
Pushed it
notice that.
down. Yeah.
Then forgot.
Yep.
okay.
Hit delete a couple of times and bring it back up.
That's okay.
Okay.
I knew what you meant.
So moving on to the 2022 blanket purchase order authorization for Old Orchard Park vendors, please.
Okay, your packet contains a memo dated March 1st from the Parks and Recreation Director concerning the approval of purchase orders related to the Old Orchard Park Campground store. OOP has several different vendors that are projected to spend more than $2,000 for the 2022 camping season. This memo details the line items and the 2022 budget dedicated to these purchases. During the 2021 camping season, Old Orchard Park spent $93,718.33 with these vendors. The Township Board is being requested to approve a total not to exceed $98,000 for these vendors.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
How much did we make off that?
Double that.
Approved.
It was a little more than double, but
Okay. Was there any, you guys buy quite a bit of stuff out there, and I'm sure that you stock the store based on, the time frame of the year. What happens towards the end of the year when you've got all kinds of leftover stuff? Do the vendors credit us for all those things?
sometimes they do, some items they do, and some do not. So we try to plan ahead near the end of the season to try to not order more than we need. However, sometimes that works, and sometimes that does not. If it can stay till next year, we'll use it till next year. We box it up, put it somewhere warm, which is usually the office or the barn, and then we can resell it until the expiration date. Otherwise, it gets credited or it gets thrown away.
You had any problems with shrinkage on that, on those things that you're buying?
Nope.
Good deal.
Do you have a question, Jamie?
I just was gonna ask you how you felt, how the blanket vendor thing worked last year.
It works. It takes quite a bit to restock that store. It's empty right now. So to get it going, it takes probably a month and a half. Judy will be here in the store in the park in the next week and a half. And then she starts getting the vendors called. Every year we seem to lose a vendor where we gotta find and gain a vendor. The problem with our location is we're out of the beaten path. The dam store is the only other place that they have to make a trip to, and they're starting because of the gas prices to increase these prices because they've got to bring them out to us, or we've got to go and get them somewhere, which is kind of, they've been doing that the last year. They just don't want to bring it to us. A few vendors, and Jamie, you know what ones I'm talking about, I just don't know why they don't come out there. They just don't. It's really not worth their time for 5 months, I guess. However, they do make
Money.
Yeah, they make quite a bit of money off of us. But
Are there alternative vendors that we can?
not in this
Looking.
area. They're far away. Alpena has a few. Mostly they're in Saginaw and Bay City, and to come up here from that distance for what little we do, they don't really seem interested. So we try to do the best we can with what we got.
Which vendor are you talking about here?
It's a potato chip vendor.
Which one?
Frito-Lay.
Frito-Lay is giving you a hard time? So they
Well,
come up
give
here
me a
and
hard
serve, and
time,
they
but-
put Frito-Lay chips in all the stores around here, and they can't drive 3 extra minutes to drop them off at the store out there for you? That's what we're hearing?
Yep.
I didn't want to say that on camera in front of everybody, but yeah.
I'll say it right in front of everybody. Frito-Lay is not wanting to deliver the chips.
Wow.
So, well, that's interesting. Well,
Well,
Al,
this
given
is-
the possible increase in cost because of the gas, is the 98,000
Well, I didn't know,
sufficient?
this is the problem with budgeting, the size of the
time.
place that I have. I do the best I can and try to foresee into the future the best I can.
Right.
And I do increase prices slightly, 5-10%, depending on what line item I'm doing. I'm hoping it's gonna work, so I hope we have enough. We will make it work. I mean, regardless of how close we are, we always make it work.
Okay. Well, with that, I would make a motion to approve the request purchase orders for vendors associated with the Old Orchard Park Campground Store in an amount not to exceed $98,000.
I'll support that, Spencer, but I have one other question. Is there a way that, if this is a problem with Frito-Lay and possibly other vendors, as fuel prices continue to increase, would it be better to have some kind of warehouse area designated in town so that they don't have to drive out of there?
We would love to have a warehouse area anywhere in town, but that's the problem. We can only order so much because we only have so many places to put it.
Right.
So we can't order a ton of items at first and then just kind of hold on to it.
Well, you have to watch the expiration dates too, don't you? 'Cause
Well, we
those-
do. They're rotated
Okay.
all the time, but it's the point that we just don't have the area for it, so.
Okay, so there's a motion by Mr. Palmer, support by Mr. Spencer.
I just had one
We
more
had
comment.
one question, any more comments?
I have
before?
one.
Sounds like a couple.
Oh, I just wanted to piggyback on Jeremy's and let him know that they do an inventory at the end of the year and count everything, and then they turn that over to the auditors as well, just so you know.
Yep, cool.
Well, that
They
was-
want to see what's left over.
Yep.
And what we had, so they have a count. We have everything, and they have it right now, so.
That was my question on how you handle the inventory, because I guess, unless I missed it in prior board packets, like at the end of the fall, I didn't see any credits.
They're on there.
They're on there?
Yes. Absolutely. We used to handwrite it. Judy used to handwrite it, and they wanted to see it on the computer, so I had to teach her that. So we had her learn on the computer to put it into a spreadsheet, and that's turned into the auditors, and then we have, when the credits come back, they get turned into the treasurer.
Okay, I'll go back and look, thanks.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? All right, with that, then roll call, please.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Wurschenbarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you all for
Thanks,
coming in.
Al.
Thanks, Al.
All right, next on, we have the tire changer and balancer purchase request. Tammy?
Okay, your packet contains a memo from DPW Supervisor Bill Hamlin, along with a quote from Johnson Auto Supply in the amount of $19,156.14 for a tire changer and balancer. This is a Department of Public Works capital improvement item scheduled for 2022. This item will be split between 5 departments. I would ask that the Township Board approve the purchase of the tire changer balancer to be paid out of the following lines: 101-265-980.000, 207-000-980.000, 211-000-980.000, 590-000-980.000, and 591-000-980.000.
Could you repeat the account numbers for me, please?
That's a lot of zeros.
I know, I was just thinking, why are our account numbers all so big?
And just for informational, that number breaks down to $3,831.22 with, I believe, 2 departments having added an extra penny.
Okay,
How many tire balance rotation swap outs does it take if you pay for it at a regular retail environment to charge $19,000?
Well, it's used for each department, so we do tire and balancing for all of the police cars, which happens often, tire rotation. Each year, I don't know how many times we change out, at least spring and winter, for tires for the police department.
And how often do we have
And-
to replace this machine?
Not very often. I know the one they have right now, we've had for quite a few years.
Like quite a few, like 10? Quite a few, like 6?
I would say 10
Yeah,
at
I do
least.
10 or more?
Yeah, that was before me, so.
Right on. So it's actually paying for itself, is what my
Yes.
question is basically
Yes.
boiling down to.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I would assume it's a timing thing as well.
Oh, yeah, not
they would have to-
back and forth.
Right,
and-
not being
okay,
on
yeah.
schedule, waiting.
drop off, all the other stuff, but.
I would move to approve the 19.
I just had a question, is there only one vendor to get this from, or?
They actually, if we, this is the quote I was given, so I can't say for sure if they have checked more than one. I do know they get a discount price on this, but I don't know what that is if they have it done in by the end of the month. So I think it was like 30%.
I was gonna say, the list, there's a big difference. I mean, the list price on the tire changer, if I'm reading it correctly, was
Yeah.
35,000, and then our price is 9,300, so, yeah. And then the list price on the balancer is close to 31,000, and our price is 9,700, so.
And this is brand new.
Pardon me?
Brand new?
Yes, yes.
And it does have all the features that they require, comes with all the accessories. We're not gonna have to, oh, we forgot to include the,
It's from Bill.
Yes.
Bill provided the quote, so.
On
so we
the,
have to assume that yes. Okay, well, I will continue then and make a motion to approve an expenditure of $19,156.14 for a tire changer balancer to be split between the different departments and the different bank accounts listed on the board packet, because I'm not gonna read them all off again.
It's support by Cummings.
okay,
Let me-
I have one more question.
There's a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Cummings, and I know Ms. McGuire has a question.
On the quote here, it says the price quote is only good through March 8th to the 11th, however.
Right, Bill spoke with them because he turned it in actually very late for the last meeting.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
So they're still
they
going
spoke
to-
with them, and it's good till the end of the month.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, any other questions before we do roll call? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Wushbacher?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to item number 6, MEDC and CDBG grant pursuit request.
Okay. Your packet contains information on 2 competitive grant programs available through the MEDC that include the Revitalization and Placemaking Grant and the CDBG Public Gathering Spaces Initiative. Both grant programs will be highly competitive throughout the state with a tremendous number of applicants, but an award could be a significant funding source for the much-needed beach improvements that have been discussed and presented since 2018. Thus, we feel we should take the necessary steps to prepare our applications for the deadlines on April 15th and May 31st, respectively. Final applications in the proposed plan will be submitted to the Township Board prior to submission to the MEDC for final approval. The Township allocating time and energy to this effort requires Board approval.
What's the max we could get if we won everything?
Well, I think it's 1 million and 2 million.
Can you repeat that number?
1 million for the CDBG grant, and I believe it's 2 million for the MEDC grant.
So that's just an absolute, if you get the grant for MEDC, it's 2 million. There's not, they
You
don't,
see- No, it's, that, you asked about what the maximum grants could be, and it's 1 million and 2 million. They could,
Okay.
we could pursue a lower amount, and they could award a lower amount.
I see.
how much are we going for?
We don't know yet, we don't have estimates yet.
We
And,
can't just say all of it?
Sure.
and you indicated that our township time, are you saying that Rowe would also be, do we have any cost estimates from them as to what they're gonna?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, so basically what we're asking for is just approval to get the grant ready to go. That's what we're doing. And then by the next board meeting, we would have something to present
So
for submission.
getting the grant ready to go includes writing everything up and finding out the cost that we're actually gonna go for.
Yes.
And having the plan ready for review and that, so you're asking for approval to spend hours of township employee time to generate these documents.
Yes,
For projects that have been identified in a plan that was adopted a few years ago, correct? But we're not sure which things yet? You're gonna
Well-
kind of iron those out?
the plan was to start with the basic needs. We had kind of a smaller meeting with Mr. Hamlin and Al Cetus and Rick Freeman to see where we could start even, because this program has to be shovel-ready.
Right.
So the plan was to start with the bathhouse, which is and much-needed repair. The boardwalk, possibly some handicap walkouts to the water, things like that. Just start basic with the first, which is due in April 15th. So we just wanted to get that rolling, and we need the board to approve that rolling.
Okay. Any other questions? So basically, we are just authorizing you guys to work on it at this time. We're not authorizing a submittal until it's going to come back for
Right.
review. Okay.
Right.
Are you going to be looking at all, it's probably not shovel-ready and we're not sure yet, but the approach, you know, like, because obviously we've had some
parking lot,
discussion in regard to
everything.
the parking lot,
Yes.
the impact of the Holiday Inn and so on. I guess I personally see that as a little bit more of a need possibly before we branch out into other areas.
Well, with the parking lot, we would like to try and have in place, if they're going to redo the parking lot, we also need to consider the mains through there.
Right.
The sewer main, that we would like to consider having that fixed. If we're gonna tear up the parking lot, we might as well just do it once.
That's right.
Correct.
So, but we have to have cost estimates and
Okay.
things like that, so.
All right, I just thought I'd throw out the approach part as well, because it's already a little bit of a mess down there. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to gather and prepare the application information for the MEDC's revitalization and placemaking grant and the CBDG's Public Gathering Space Initiative, having them bring back their final presentation to the board.
Support, Sutton.
Real quick, is the number of improvements on here that you're talking about, all of those improvements that we're going out for grants for are all in the master plan?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms. McGuire, support by Mr. Sutton. Are there any more questions? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Wishbarth?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to number 7, letter of support, PKL Homes, Vanetton Dam Road redevelopment project.
All right, your packet contains a letter of support on behalf of PKL Homes and their proposed redevelopment project at 4385 Vanetton Dam Road to the Michigan Land Bank. PKL Homes would like to pursue Oscoda Township's Brownfield Redevelopment Authority TIF program and additional programs offered directly through the Michigan Land Bank. This letter of support is a necessary action item in moving forward and will be a key component to the financing stack of the project. Taking this action requires board approval.
Okay, are there any questions? Or Todd, obviously you prepared this letter. Is there more that you'd like to add?
Just the Michigan Land Bank is launching 2 new programs. Like a lot of state agencies and a lot of grant programs, I mean, these things are hitting the ground, here they are, and they're live, and you don't get a lot of runway or a lot of learning cycle time, if you will. So we were on the phone with Michigan Land Bank, not more than 2 weeks ago, and these new programs were being launched. One is for a $10,000 grant for the applicant to do preliminary like feasibility and environmental studies on a property, and then the other one is a pretty significant loan program. The applicant, or the developer, PKL Homes in this case, is applying with Michigan Land Bank independently. We're not involved in that application, other than we are saying at the township level we are in support of this redevelopment project. I referenced the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority in that letter as well. Actually, we would be third in line if PKL Homes would want to bring us a site plan or a redevelopment plan. Then the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority in the Township of Oscoda would then entertain that, and we would be in a position to make a decision on that. But the first 2 steps with the Michigan Land Bank, we've got sort of no skin in that game, other than supporting the project.
Okay.
Is there a representative from PKL here today? Have you, yeah, Mike, I guess my question is real quick. Did you get a chance to look at the letter? Okay. I'm sorry, I have to.
Oh, yeah, yes, sorry. You should have gone to the podium. Just got reprimanded.
I just,
It's Jeremy's fault, though, because
I'm
he asked
sorry.
the question.
I should have waited.
He's
I
egging you on
apologize.
to answer the finish.
Could we have Tammy walk around with a cordless mic?
No. This isn't a game show.
Fair enough. I just wondered if you had had an opportunity to read the letter that was in the packet and if it was sufficient for your purposes. So if you haven't read it yet, then the answer is, I don't know, I would wager.
I have not seen the letter, but I have seen a sample of what the letter should contain,
Okay.
yes.
Jeremy, for your benefit, I will tell you that I've already shown this letter to the Michigan Land Bank, and it met with their approval.
Good deal. I just want to make sure that we don't approve something that's not going to help you. And that said, I would move to approve a letter of support on behalf of PKO Homes.
Support Sutton?
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Spencer, support by Mr. Sutton. Are there any further questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Mr. Wishbarth?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Lovelace.
Yep, thank you. Good luck. All right, moving on to the other section on the agenda, we have the chamber events requests for the summer of 2022.
So you have a letter of request from Ms. House for the annual events that the chamber requests every year. The only difference, I believe, is going to be Art on the Beach, which is going to be down on the beach again. And there is a time change for the parade on 4th of July, which will be 11 a.m. I think she has 1:30 on there right now, but it should be 11 a.m.
Yeah, it was 1:30 when it was on a Sunday last year for church.
Yep,
But
Nancy
the couple of years
changed that.
before it was right 11, so.
So the proposed
Okay.
time is 12:30 p.m.?
11.
11.
11.
And for the park and all of her events, anywhere that they're used, you've already checked those?
Yes.
The calendar is clear?
The calendar is clear.
All right. I guess, does anybody have any questions for Nancy with the chamber that she needs to come up to the podium for, or are we good?
I'll make a motion that we approve the list of events requests by the chamber for the summer of 2022.
Support.
Wow.
That was all.
Everybody wants the events.
Yeah.
We want them
Well,
bad.
Okay,
We
I
want
don't
spending
think
money.
Steve is, I'm gonna give it to
Yeah, we'll
Steve
give it to
because he isn't. All right, there's a motion by Ms. McGuire, support by Mr. Westerbarth to approve as submitted. Roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Cummings?
Yes.
Ms. McGuire?
Whoops, sorry, yes.
Mr. Wishbarth?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton, yes. Ms. Richards?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. All right. Okay, sorry. We are now to the second public comment section of our agenda. This one you do not have to have a card for, and it does not need to be on the an agenda item. You are still limited to 4 minutes to speak, and I'm going to start on the right-hand side tonight, my right-hand side anyways. So is there anybody over on the right-hand side that would like to speak? Okay, Kathy, come up.
Gonna have to work on your stage lefts and stage rights.
Yeah. And just remember when you get to the podium to state your name, even though we know you, the press just wanted us to make sure that we ask that.
Sure, okay. Kathy Woosterbarth, Oscoda Township. First, I'd like to say that I appreciate the fiduciary responsibilities that you have, but urge you to trust the public that has made it clear that they want beautification and improvement of the images of our areas. We need to act, I think, with urgency and consider the perspective of these costs that are being asked, $2,500 for this building that is going to, I think, if you invest in it, you're gonna see that the public is going to really react to that. And you just need to have faith in us that we're going to continue that positive attitude if you're willing to just, do that. I feel like, or I think that $2,500 is within the spending authority of the superintendent, but I'm not sure. I feel like those sorts of things, we need to really consider that we need to move on those and just not have necessarily bring it to the board every time we need to spend $2,500 on a project like that. Also, I've learned that you have been approached by Mark Henry, who has worked through the state on the former Wordsmith Air Force Base contamination project and is exceedingly familiar with the site, maybe more so than almost anyone in the world, including Bob Delaney. So he's now our Restoration Advisory Board co-chair and is volunteering his time to this site, which he is dedicated decades of his life. He has generously taken it upon himself to summarize in understandable terms a situation that is happening on the base with the wastewater treatment plant, or we consider the lagoons. The bottom line is that these lagoons are affecting the PFAS plumes on the base, and it should be acted upon immediately. I don't understand why the request for the presentation of this information was not included in tonight's agenda, and I hope that we have not alienated a potential partner in this situation the township will address most likely at a very high expenditure. These are considered forever chemicals, but we do not have forever to address them to protect our rivers, lakes, families, and children.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in that first section that would like to speak? Okay, moving on to the middle section. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to do public comment? Maybe raise your hand. No? Okay. Moving on to the third. Okay. There's two people there. You raised your hand first, Jen, unless you would rather that Mark go, whichever way.
Hi. Jen Kirch again. Board. I think, in all fairness, I should be allowed more than 4 minutes to speak on the comment that was made that you're going to discuss later.
Okay, wait. If you are referencing a thing that is in other, okay, right, or it's in information, we are not discussing it whatsoever. It's just in information.
Okay,
And that's what I
I'm
was
allowed
telling
to
you earlier.
speak on anything at this point.
Exactly.
And I'm
just
going to
telling
speak
you.
on this right now.
You have 4 minutes.
Thank you. There is an email in your packet today between Tammy, the police chief, and the prosecutor. I want an FOIA on all of that. I want one that has my name, and I want one that has Hammerhead in it. Are we writing things down? Thank you. Yeah, you can laugh. You
Please,
seem to do that a lot.
Jen,
He's sitting over there laughing at me.
you know,
Ann.
you need to stop,
Ann?
please, Jen.
No, I don't have to
Yes,
stop,
you
Ann.
do.
There
Jen?
was a police report made on me.
Jen, that's enough.
No, you can't do this, Ann.
I can do
no,
that
you
if you're
can't.
gonna get
It is
upset.
illegal for you to stop me speaking in my 4 minutes. You need to get that clear. I have the floor for 4 minutes. You cannot speak right now.
Yes, I
No,
can
you
when
cannot.
you are being,
Pull
you
up
need to
the
stop.
law. Pull it up because it says.
Ms.
It
Richards,
says it
we
right
have
in
a
our
first
public
vote.
comment. You need to stop. Jen,
No,
We
I
have a-
do
Yes.
not. You need to
You
stop.
are out of
This
Jen,
is
you are
it.
out of
I
order.
have it.
You are out of order.
investigating.
Jen.
I have
Jen, you're out of
every
order,
right.
please. Great, I apologize for that. That being said, on our public comment card, could you please give me a public comment card? Whether or not somebody has the right to speak for 4 minutes, they also have to do it in a way that is professional, respective. Where is it right here? Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or who shall become boisterous or confrontational while addressing the board, may be requested to leave the lectern. Speaking time will be limited to 4 minutes per person. Again, I understand that that was a passionate subject for her, but it was, in my opinion, needed to be stopped. So, out of order.
Is this the time that we need to talk about, this is the second time she's disrupted a board meeting.
Well, let's wait to see
Yep.
if there's any
We
other
have a-
public comment. I believe that Mark wanted to speak. Mark, would you like to speak?
And we can't talk about it anyways, it's not on the agenda, so it'll have to be on future agenda.
Mark Miller, Oscoda Township. First of all, I appreciate you filming the event so that people can watch it. It's not completely reported in the media. And I'd like you to reconsider your hybrid model that you had in the prior year. I appreciate Larry Holland's Destination Oscoda newsletter and advertising. I appreciate the transparency you've shown in putting together your meeting packets, and I ask that you share that with Iosco County, both for the methodology and the agendas in the minutes. On your website, please update it to show the 2020 audit that was completed in May of 2021, and I believe you accepted it. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, you had an ethics code. Who prepared it? And I think it would be good to get a leader to go over with the council and the surrounding communities. Oh, what else? The rest of it, you got Friday around noon. Where I live, there's an alarm sensor. There's a sewer lift station. The alarm goes off about once a quarter. It has a phone number. And could someone put a sign there, because it rings through the county and the operator says, "Why are you calling us?" And there's nothing to say what the building is. There's no physical location. All there is a sign that says, "Call this number if alarm goes off." And that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, it's time for a board comment. And I guess before we start, that's not an agenda item that you referenced.
I don't think it
So we
has to
can't,
be.
yeah, well,
We're not.
we're not discussing that right now.
No.
Please, thank you. So if we could, if anybody has board comment, please do so. Anybody? I guess I just want to address, Kathy, you indicated that we should just move forward with that $2,500 mural. I have a problem spending public dollars on a private building if we don't have more information. So it's one thing, I mean, we okayed these mural, the pedestals and things like that, but to actually not have a little bit more information, I'm sorry, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. So And I guess, again, I'm very sorry for what happened this evening. I am sorry that Jen had to be taken out like she did. It was unfortunate and something I never, ever want to see again. So, and I'm sorry for that. But with that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.